Oh, pretty much all that's left of the white Christmas.
Yeah, Christmas Day. Anyway, I'm mushy and cold now. Anyway, a full video, I think. Well, we'll talk about anti-natalism anyway. Benatar asymmetry, responding to a couple of videos. A little snarky heroin church guy. And Luddite returns. So Luddite is... I mean, the heroin church thing is sort of an easy one to answer. Again, it comes down to these words called empathy and, fear. Okay, there's two kinds of ways you can care. You can care because your heart bleeds, so to speak, because you think something's cute and lovable. Or you can care because you see something as a threat to yourself. So I could worry for the future, in a sense, both for the other future beings, but for myself, selfishly, for the welfare implications of certain things. People could argue that they're afraid of it for both reasons, or one or the other. And the argument I make about reincarnation, not using it in any kind of explicit sense, just in this general idea that what will be reincarnated, what will exist again, is a person similar to myself. Not me, but something that will be similarly disposed, similarly frustrated, similarly sick and tired of it all. And he will be sentenced to endure it all over again. And besides that, more importantly, people will exist who will suffer many times greater horrors. And in a sense, I'm arguing that I'm capable of understanding that I wouldn't want to do that. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't pull the switch to make that happen. That would be stupid. So the easiest way to prevent it is just to say, no, let's not do that. So anyway, we're back to the asymmetry argument, which again is a pretty simple argument. You can't miss what you don't need, right? If you're not hungry, you don't need it. If you don't have a taste for it, you don't need it. So there's no harm in not having what you don't want. I mean, that seems pretty simple. Obviously, the non-existent want for nothing. They need nothing. They don't have to be here. It's not urgent. Little rabbits with a watch going, I'm late for a very important date. Nothing, no, that's happening. No panic, no worries. So there can be no negative impact to them being denied needing or becoming hungry. That seems kind of silly. And you prevent, by them not existing, all the downside risks that's possible, all the chemotherapy, blah blah blah, all the burning to death in a car accidents, all the extraneous nastinesses that would be put into the possibility realm by creating them. Now he calls this all ludicrous and non-intuitive and demonstrably blah 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 with all this. Well, that's Luddite does. As if this isn't a rational argument, and just dismisses it from some sort of notion of popularity, maybe, I don't know, but he just dismisses it. He doesn't argue it very deeply, just dismisses, and presumes and states pretty unqualifiably that life can be good. Well, whether it can be or can't be isn't the issue. Whether one life can be good isn't the subject. The subject is life itself. And by that definition would mean that, going back to heroin church, using words like guilt and obligation, if anything, I am explaining to people the fear that motivates me. I'm motivated by fear, a clear understanding that I'm in jeopardy in a practical substance sense. The substance of me is in jeopardy. The substance of a thing that might be called a me is at jeopardy. And so I fear for that individual who I feel their pain, so to speak. I feel their jeopardy. I feel the jeopardy of doing exactly what I did here, except doing it in Indonesia. Okay, I really don't want to do that. I don't want to do that really badly. Quite passionate about it. So Luddite goes a step further in terms of being insulting and petty. Apparently that's the new philosophical, college-educated approach, is to just be a petty, insulting jerk. Yeah, I think that's what they call people like that, just jerks. Implying the motive is like we're somehow, he doesn't use this metaphor, but it's the metaphor that came to mind, that somehow we're like Khan in the Wrath of Khan, and we're just sitting there looking for an excuse to blow it all up because we're mad that we lost. Some kind of crap like that. And that's just fine. Go ahead and do that. It's your right to psychoanalyze other people, but I can just watch you chain smoke, make some cliche, judgments, and dismiss you. Oh, he's just one of those silly chain smoking alcoholic types. There, you're done. You're no longer a philosopher. You're no longer a thinker. You're no longer relevant. How about that? No, I think that would be bullshit. Anyway, so I mean, what comes to mind, I had a couple of thoughts that came to mind. First off, again, by his stating that there's some intrinsic good in life, he's basically arguing for a ethical or pragmatic, utilitarian necessity to create life. Not only that you would be if it's an intrinsic good, who are we not to create good, right? You would be diminishing the universe by denying it goodness, by doing anything to suppress more creation of more good. So it wouldn't even be that whether you should have the right to procreate, you would have an obligation to do so. Yeah, doesn't that sound like a religion? But anyway, go forth and multiply, or else we'll put you in jail for not doing the good thing, not making good. Yeah. So again, this whole idea that there can't be any kind of need without a hunger, that you could somehow find music beautiful if you didn't have a taste for it, if there wasn't something about it that was pulling at some need strings inside of you, I think it's just nonsense. It seems it's clear the hunger must come first, and the hunger is not needed. It's not necessary. So anyway, so you can also, I was metaphoring this like nuclear power again. I'm saying, look, we know this is an analytical question on different levels. The first level, what's the raw value thing? And the other level is this ethical question. And it's hard to even draw the line between these two. Like, say, if you had a nuclear power plant dilemma. So you're going to decide, whether there will be a nuclear power plant in a certain location. And what's going to be figured into that calculation is what's the risk of disaster, what's the need for the benefit, like how valuable is this electricity, how necessary is it, how much of it's being wasted already, how abundant is it, and who do you have a right to impose risk on, is the third question, isn't it? Now, if you're putting a nuclear power plant on Moon, and you're saying, well, can't hurt anybody up there, well, then your risk equation changes entirely. But no, when you're building it, like, they just say, we're going to put it there. And all of a sudden, my life is not mine anymore. I don't have control anymore, in the sense that a huge ball of risk has been placed right next to me. And if something goes wrong, the guy who decided to put it there isn't going to get irradiated. I am. Yeah. Now, isn't there something where we could say there's something ethically wrong in that equation, that we're going to impose risk on certain individuals and make them pay the freight, so to speak? We're just going to assign the risk to them, and we're going to take the profit and run to the the party land with it, go to Disney World, power our roller coaster with their risk, and feel no trespass. Feel that they haven't incurred on anybody's space at all. I think rationally philosophers could understand that this provides a dilemma. This is a problem. This is does that cognitive dissonant thing. No, that doesn't sound quite right. No, it doesn't. So you can't just keep running away from the truth here. That life isn't some bag where everybody gets the same device, the same the same prize. Santa doesn't deliver the same gifts. To some people, he delivers, snappy crabs with AIDS on their claws, and and other people, he gives them, smartphones and all that good stuff. So, until you fix that inequity of distribution, you have a dilemma. You have a problem in validating the idea of Santa Claus. And you can't just keep running from it. You have to deal with it. You can't just say, oh, well, that's the way it is. No, that's not good enough. Because if it was you, I think your philosophy would change. Yeah, I really do. Yeah, I think if it was in your backyard and everybody was just having a good time on your ass, you'd figure out that, wait a minute, no, we have to figure this out. You can't just do that. You have to have an excuse to do that. A powerful reason. And I don't think there is any powerful reason. Another point I guess I would raise, another thought that came to mind. I'll play some of your video and respond directly, but I did have these thoughts. Was by your theory of consciousness being somehow intrinsically good and fun and great, why am I not hungry to experience other people's consciousness? Why do I have absolutely no hunger to do that? I might have some hunger or desire to maintain me, but I don't have any desire to experience what the other dope shits are doing. I don't want to be John Malkovich. I really don't. I don't want to be any of you people, especially when you're going for your cancer therapy. Yeah, I really don't want to consciously live with you. Not at all. Not even close. So clearly, I think we are completely owned by the subjective nature of our experiential existence, and that our perception of the value of the rest of the existences is one more based on a rational understanding of intrinsic and fundamental equality than it is any subjective attachment or love or appreciation or anything. I mean, I might sound kind of vain, but yeah, I don't really need the rest of you to go to my paradise island and live with me there. I mean, if I had the ticket and it said only one can go, yeah, I'm not taking you with me. I mean, if it said I could take anyone, I could take you with me, I wouldn't take you with me. I have no reason to. Just none. I don't see any real value in your existences. I mean, I don't mean to be offensive, but it's just the truth. I certainly don't know. I certainly know there's no value to mine beyond what janitorial work I can do while I'm here. But because I am in the feeling game, in the horny, hungry game, yeah, I'm playing the hungry, horny game. Hungry, horny, hungry, horny. It needs a TV commercial. Hungry, horny. It is a good game title. Yeah, so I'm playing so I can understand that. But I don't see any function for the rest of you, in that sense, the Amazing Atheist is quite correct. You are all just useless sacks of skin, in many respects. I don't need you to exist. I don't care if you exist. If you'd stopped existing, I wouldn't I really wouldn't shed any tears. I mean, it's just the honest truth. Unlike the amazing atheist, I think your welfare is profoundly important. I don't want any harm to come to you. But that's because I understand rationally how evil and nasty harm is. That harm is the enemy. Life is just a silly word. Harm, suffering, these are the big words. Big, big, big. Gigantic, huge words. But yeah, let's get, the truth is, I can't rationally come up with an excuse. There's no rational reason to create life. You can say there's intrinsic value in life existing, yet I don't think if people are completely detached from their personal prejudices and biases, their hunger, their personal subjective hunger, that they would go to any store and pay any price to generate it, unless they're a religious nut or something. It's just not there. There's no logic. It's void of logical function. Create a need. There's no point. It's not a sensible thing to do. Creating need is stupid. Satisfying need is smart. So what's being argued here is some people need these nuclear power plants, so to speak, and the argument being made is they're too risky, we can't distribute the risk in any fair manner, and so therefore need something else. It's that simple. Find something else to need, and need it. Because needing nuclear power plants can't really be realistically satisfied, because, we can't make it make sense. We can't make it make sense economically because of the expense of disaster and the inequity of the distribution of disaster. So we can't play it. And what I'm saying is I think a rational person can dissect life and draw similar conclusions. Risk can't be equitably distributed. There's no consignment. No one accepts it. No one agrees to the terms of service. So they can't be imposed. And you just rationally can't justify it because it has even less urgency in terms of satisfying some function than nuclear power. Electricity is more purposeful than a yammering, whining, crying, hungry human being. A newborn baby will not even produce the 25 watts of electricity that a useless adult produces. Well, consumes realistically. So, I think that's the story. I believe it is. It's enough of a story anyway. Yeah, I think it is enough of a story. Anyway, till next time. In touch. And so forth. My hand is cold again.